every 4 years, football stops being a sport. It becomes an event, a global event, the kind that brings billions of people together, whether you're watching from packed stadiums, a fan park, or a TV in the middle of nowhere. But 2026 feels different because this isn't just another World Cup. It's said to be the biggest one ever staged. And for Africa, it might be the most important yet. So here's a quick breakdown. The FIFA World Cup 2026 edition kicks off on the 11th of June 2026 with the final currently set for the 19th of July 2026. For the first time in history, the tournament will be hosted across 3 countries: the United States of America, Canada and Mexico. The competitor lineup, it will be the toughest one yet, with a staggering 48 teams competing instead of the usual 32. That means more nations, more matches, more stories, and more drama. The expanded format changes everything. More countries have a realistic pathway to the World Cup, and with matches spread across North America, from Mexico City, Los Angeles, Toronto, and beyond, the World Cup starts to feel less like a tournament and more like a month-long global experience. Now let's talk about Africa, because for African football, 2026 feels like a massive opportunity. The continent is packed with quality teams fighting for the trophy. You've got teams like Morocco, Senegal, Egypt, Cameroon, Ghana, and many more. And expectations have evolved as well. Not that long ago, the goal was to simply qualify, but now African teams want to go all the way. And after Morocco's historic 2022 run, they became the first African team to ever reach a World Cup semi-final. Nobody can say an African upset isn't possible anymore. And then there's South Africa, a country that still holds one of football's most iconic memories. Because no matter where you're from, when people talk about the 2010 FIFA World Cup, South Africa is part of that story. Since then though, it's been a bit of a mixed picture. There have been promising moments, there have been frustrating moments, and there have been qualification campaigns that left fans wondering what could have been done. So heading into this cup, optimism feels fair, but so does caution. Bafana have talent. They have shown they can compete against strong opposition. And when South Africa gets things right, there's a confidence and identity to the team that's hard not to get behind. And when the team competes against Mexico in the opening game of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which happens to be a repeat of the opening game of the 2010 World Cup, you are guaranteed they'll have an entire continent backing them. Now from a tourism perspective, this is where things get interesting, because the World Cup isn't just a football event. It's one of the biggest tourism events on the planet. Millions of fans will travel during the tournament. Hospitality businesses see major boosts. Just look at South Africa. More than 15 years later, people still associate the country with the success of the 2010 FIFA World Cup. That's the kind of tourism legacy destinations dream about. And that's exactly why cities compete so aggressively for the chance to host major sporting events. Let's keep it honest, not everything about the 2026 World Cup has people excited. One of the biggest talking points is costs, and not just ticket prices, the entire experience. For many fans, getting to North America is already expensive. Add flights, accommodation, local transport, food, and suddenly a World Cup trip becomes a serious financial commitment. One recent analysis estimated that following a team all the way to the World Cup final could cost well over $25,000, while travel and accommodation is included. There have also been serious questions raised around visas and whether certain fans will even be able to travel. Many fans have argued that global politics shouldn't have a place in the FIFA World Cup. Unfortunately, this is not the case. It's also about culture, music, entertainment. One of the biggest African names involved in the build-up is South Africa's own Tyla, whose collaboration Game Time has become a big part of the World Cup rollout. Rema and Burna Boy have also featured in the collaborations leading up to the event. And honestly, that's a pretty cool moment. Because when African artists are part of the global conversation, it shows how influential the continent has become. This was seen with Flashy Gown and Shakira performing the 2010 World Cup major hit Waka Waka. The reality is this: African football isn't on the outside looking in anymore. African players are playing for some of the biggest clubs in the biggest leagues in the world. African supporters are everywhere, and African teams are no longer treated as outsiders the way they once were. So when Africa arrives at the World Cup now, it arrives with expectation, with confidence, and with the genuine belief they can compete with anyone. A bigger format, a wider stage, and for Africa, another opportunity to show exactly how far the continent has come. The world will be watching, and Africa will be ready. Stay locked in with Tourism News Africa for more insights, more updates, and more stories shaping sports, tourism, and culture around the continent.